why are you watching this video if you could be watching Lord of the Rings? You've watched it already, haven't you? Well, most people have. It's probably 20 years since it came out, and a whole generation has grown up with the stories of hobbits, of dragons, Bilbo Baggins, the Dark Lord, Mordor, and what not. It is 20 years since it came out, but it's probably 60 years since the books came out. The films have a large fan base, a very loyal following, and most people who I have talked to can talk for hours on end about the qualities of the film, the directing, the casting of the film, and can talk about the personal lives of the actors. And I was wondering if perhaps fans haven't been reading too much of extra information about the books, reviews, have watched documentaries, have watched films about the films, and films about the films about the films, and perhaps they were reading too much into this without actually referring to the source. And it is funny that most of the groups on Facebook which are dedicated to Lord of the Rings, their people discuss primarily the films. They don't discuss the books. There's nothing about the books. So there are memes, thousands, hundreds of thousands of memes about the books and nothing, the films, and nothing about the books. And because I'm curious to see where it all comes from, why is this fascination with the films? I searched the book on Amazon, and I discovered a very interesting fact. The book, for example, the first part, The Fellowship of the Ring, where they set out on this journey the book is of course very, very popular, and it's one of those books that you must have on the shelves in a library, if you have a library, so you must have it. And the first thing, it returned the following results. There was the audiobook. Obviously it's very popular, the audiobook. It had something like 40,000 likes, 40,000 reviews. You can imagine how many people have actually listened to the story, listened to it, not read it, listened. There were 4,000 reviews on 4,000 reviews about the films, like the DVDs. There's this extra DVD also where they show us scenes that didn't go into the film. And guess how many reviews there were of the book itself? 40 reviews of the book. So 40 people went through the whole trouble of writing something about the book. Well, I guess that even if we assume that of every 100 people or even 1,000 people who have read the book, one will write something about it, it still is an astonishingly infinitesimal number. So, hence the question, how many people have actually read the book? The books. How many? And how probably I need to specify how many people have read the book since the film came out. Because previously, obviously, people were very, very interested and enamored by the beauty of the books, by the beauty of the word building, and a lot of people used to read Lord of the Rings in my time. But since the films came out, is there how many people who were fascinated by the film, actually as viewers, spilled over to the literary medium? And is there such a connection? Because the people who have read the books and are a little bit older, they were very much excited. They were very excited about the film coming out, and they went to see the film. So these are two different mediums. But the people who saw the film first. So I was thinking maybe the visual medium is lazy, unlike the literary medium, because the literary medium, the whole world of Tolkien is built from the ground up using language, and the whole film is not built from the ground up. First, it's not so original. In terms of visual effects, there's nothing that is groundbreaking. There's nothing that hasn't been done before. Yes, it's stunning in terms of, but it's stunning with the kind of imagination that people had. It's stunning because it fulfills certain expectations. But other than that, purely speaking about the visual medium, is there anything that Lord of the Rings actually was the first film to show to viewers? And when I said that films, the visual medium is lazy, I really mean it. It's lazy because people sit back and enjoy Legolas sliding on a shield and shooting arrows left and right, and orcs falling down. But how many people actually were inspired to create something new? Because there are a couple of generations of writers who were inspired by the kind of by the proficient use of language. They were inspired as storytellers. They were inspired by the notions, by the ideas in the book, and I think that this is the reason why DC and Marvel, Disney, the big studios are exploiting old books. They're exploiting old books. Look at what is happening now. So we have old books like Lord of the Rings. We have Asimov's books. We have Dune by Frank Herbert, and it seems those books really meant something in terms of the scope of ideas that they put forward and developed, and it is in these books that we have something really meaningful, because new books, well, I don't want to detract from the quality of modern writing. It certainly has a lot to offer, but in terms of the scope of ideas, because with these books we have, with old books like Lord of the Rings and Dune and many others, we have those books appeared right on the threshold of the threshold of a great change, societal change, ideological change. They offered something that had never been done before. Times of great upheaval, and the people and fans these days, there was a film about Tolkien, which exploited, which talked about and showed us how influenced Tolkien was by the Second World War, and how this inspired, and how Tolkien was inspired by the Second World War to write a book that exposes exposes its absurdity, the absurdities of war, and everything. But actually, the writer himself never said that. The writer himself, he was questioned. He was asked about his where his inspiration comes from to write these books. He never said it was the Second World War. He said this is not about the second. The books are not about the Second World War. These are books about Middle Earth. So we once again we become victims of our own desire to create content and to create myths. So to create myths about what actually happened. Perhaps people need this to feel it is only right that we, the viewers and the fans, acknowledge the contribution, the wonderful contribution of all those actors, actresses involved in the making of Lord of the Rings, Ian McKellen and all the others. But I'm talking about the films and the books because we need to take stock of what is important here. It all boils down to a very simple premise, and it is that the most intimate meeting that a person can ever have is not with the visual medium, where your senses are bombarded with special effects, but the written word. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.